You can then see, again, how the media runs hand in hand with US foreign policy, such as we're now discussing the issues of Darfur, and everyone discusses Darfur. Yes, it is an issue which we need to address. The issue is, the other question is it a genocide?
I think it's a bit more complicated than just genocide. It's a question of banditry, and also, besides the banditry, you have two African nations that have similar interests, and they seem to be subverting each other.
Not saying that the Janjaweed are not trying to, are not clearing the land or killing people, but we have to put it into context. In the Congo over the last 6 years, you had like 3 or 4 million people were killed in the Congo. Where was the media attention there? We're told genocide in Darfur. Where are the images to substantiate this genocide?
Sudan has been portrayed in a way that's just an extension of the way the West looks at the rest of the world anyway. And so it was an easier way for them to portray it as a battle between Christianity and Islam. I didn't understand. I don't know how some of the people I saw on those stills or some of those news reports were Arab. They didn't look Arab to me. I don't know. Did they look Arab to anyone else? They didn't look Arab to me. They look, one's an Arab and one's a black, and you're like, hold on a minute. So it's even the way they constructed the racial dimensions in that as well.
This isn't a question of Arabs killing Africans. These are Sudanic-speaking people. They have a very, very long history. They're an integral part of that region of Africa. There's no question that these are not Arabs, not in the sense that you and I would describe them as Arabs. They're Africans.
You've got to look at why things are constructed in a certain way, and it feeds into, justifies the Western paranoia about Islamists. Do you know what I mean?
The media has always been there to discredit the government of General al-Bashir, because al-Bashir is an Islamic fundamentalist. And you had bin Laden, for instance, who used to build roads in Sudan. Sudan's been number one on the list of countries that the United States in particular doesn't particularly really like. They supported Saddam Hussein, they support the Palestinians, and they don't necessarily support Western interests. And this is why the United States would like to see the removal of somebody like al-Bashir. The other issue, of course, is 68% of all the investments in the petroleum sector have been given to China. And China is effectively supporting Sudan all the way.
Really what we have here is an issue whereby oil, again, is on the table. We recognise that Chad is the second, it's been declared as the second largest untapped oil reserves in the world. We realise that the Sudanese government is trying to clear Darfur perhaps so they can sell oil concessions. The Chinese own the majority of oil concessions in Sudan, and the French are in Chad. And so this is what it's all really about. It's about oil concessions. The American government, the Western, so-called international community has never been concerned about non-white people or black people to be discussing or determining, let's do something about Darfur. We have to get it on the ground. I'm very, very suspicious, and always suspicious, whenever the US and certain Western states suggest we have to do something now. Where was this we have to do something now in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, in Rwanda, in the Congo even, where 4 million people lost their lives? Where was that determination? So there always is some agenda behind Western determination to solve Africa's problems.
I'm into human rights, and what happened in East Timor was disgusting. I don't know if anyone knows about East Timor or remembers about East Timor, and the Australians just looked the other way. So
that white Englishman who was sailing around the world, his yacht capsized and came into problems off the coast of Australia. What did the Australian government do? They sent out the Army, the Navy and the Air Force to rescue him. He signed a £1 million book deal, and Hollywood was interested in the rights to his story. In Afghan refugees sailing around the world, coming to problems around the same point as Tony Bullimore in Australia, off the Australian coast. The Australian government pays them the same compliment, sends out the Army, Navy and the Air Force, not to rescue them, but to push them out to sea.
Algeria, there's 40,000 people died in the last 2 years, do you know what I mean? Or in East Morocco, that strip of land that's owned by Spain, right next to Morocco, there's, do you know what I mean? The Moroccans have been killing Tuaregs for do you know what I mean? We don't talk about that.